Welcome into the Air Radio Show. And this is our Air Radio network of radio stations and social media. And this is another part of it. We have radio stations, we have social media, Facebook. We're moving into TikTok now, which should be interesting. I already have my bunny suit for that one. Of course, we're on Facebook. We're huge on Facebook, and we have a video. And this is what our video is each week. We take a look at the news briefly, and then we get into rock and roll trivia from this week.
Leah's trivia.
Leah's trivia.
Yeah, it's kind of a loosey goosey atmosphere here.
Yeah.
So.
And this week we're brought to you by Tofino, BC, which is a wonderful,
great spot.
Great spot on Vancouver Island. If you want to get out and enjoy some. You can some whale watch there. All kinds of stuff.
There's. It's a beautiful island. I've driven the whole. I had to work out there, and just gorgeous, man. Like a different world. Yeah, it's very different out there. So,
and because of the rain, it's so green.
Oh, very
like Ireland.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, let's have a look at the headlines here. 5 Memphis police officers have been charged in that beating death, which is a real eye-opener now. Asteroid 2023 BU, the space rock is passing closer than some satellites. And Haiti police riot after crime gangs kill 14 officers. And the U.S. has joined Germany in sending battle tanks to Ukraine. What's going on with Donald Trump?
Oh, geez, he's allowed back onto Facebook and Instagram. This could be an interesting shit show.
Can you imagine being barred from Facebook?
Well, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter he was. Like, they barred him from everything at one point. So
a bad boy.
He's back on, so we get some entertainment coming our way. Yeah. School chief fired after a boy, 6 years old, shoots a teacher in Virginia. Ohio busts snowfall record as winter storm moves north into Canada, which we ended up getting.
That's
right. These documents keep popping up.
Mike Pence has got some now.
You know, how many more of these politicians are they going to find with these documents? So,
and all the shootings, Half Moon Bay, 7 dead in another California mass shooting. Of course, we had another one earlier with 11 slain in Monterey Park. So there's a doubleheader there.
Yeah.
And researchers from Montreal and India have detected a radio signal from galaxy 8.8 billion light years away. Can you imagine
We are not the only ones out there.
That's right. And I'm not sure what they were playing. Some kind of rock music. I'm not sure what it was.
I think it would be like Boston.
Boston, yeah. But isn't that weird? 8.8 billion light years away. That's not how fast we can get there. That's how fast light gets there.
That's right.
That's quite a distance.
That's a big distance. I love this story. Capitol rioter who posed with his feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk in that January 6th, attack on the Capitol. He was found guilty. Don't know what he's charged with at this point, but when I saw that picture, I thought, dude, you're done. Buzz Aldrin marries for the 4th time at the age of 93.
She's 40-something.
I know, and hot.
Yeah.
Like smoking.
Buzz doesn't look bad.
Actually, for 93, he looked pretty damn good.
Yeah, he did. Did you remember when that guy went up and it's about 10 years ago, and he said, "I don't believe you went to the moon," and he suckered him?
Yeah.
I went to the moon, you son of a bitch.
Exactly.
I wouldn't want to mess with him. He's got great big paws on him.
And you
figure
good for him.
He was 93.
You figure how fit he had to have been to go into space and fly, jets and stuff like that. That guy be in good shape, I would think.
Yeah. Well, you have to be, I guess. Lisa Marie's funeral, of course, as we wrap up the news. It was a sad affair, of course, but some great entertainers showed up there and performed.
Yeah.
And from what I hear, the show was quite something. I haven't seen it yet. Trying to find time to do everything is hard sometimes.
Yeah. We're busy guys.
That's right. All right, Air Radio Network presents Leah's Trivia. We have to get one of those guys with the big voices. You can't do it because you're already on the show, but I'll have to get somebody to say Leah's Trivia.
Yeah.
One of those big voices.
Get Craig Fox to do it.
Yeah, Craig. Yeah, I'd probably do that.
He'd probably do that.
That's right. All right, a wee tidbit here as we start our trivia. Rod Stewart's first concert was Bill Haley and his Comets at the State of Kilburn, London, where he was 14 years old.
That's wild.
14 years old, wow.
And I love this trivia because there's a lot of stuff, and he and I are longtime radio guys that we are learning for the first time as well. So it's very cool.
Yeah.
Beyonce was quoted. This is funny. There's nothing wrong with being sexy, but I draw the line at body parts hanging out.
I don't mind seeing Beyonce's body parts.
It wouldn't bother me one little bit at all. Janet Jackson did it at the Super Bowl there. So.
I know. Look at my screen here. Look at this. I'm fighting with an old laptop, folks, and I'm bringing it back from the dead. It's coming back, folks. It's coming back. Here it is. Let's read yours.
Yeah.
1975, the BBC airs the David Bowie documentary Cracked Actor.
I gotta check that out, actually.
At the time of filming, David was addicted to cocaine, as a matter of fact, and the footage shows David's fragile mental state. So, I mean, he's one of those amazing musicians that just
the talent
reinvented
that poured
himself.
out of this. Every decade. Every decade he'd reinvent himself.
So this is about the time he had Fame and Golden Years out, singles, and that was this point in his career. I loved the stuff in the mid-'70s from him.
Oh God, yeah.
It's just incredible stuff.
It was
Fame.
It was so different than everything else that was going on at that time because you had disco that was huge. You had, Motown that was huge at the time as well. And then David Bowie comes out with this stuff. It just blew my mind. 1977, the original Fleetwood Mac guitarist Peter Green is committed to a mental hospital after threatening an accountant with an air rifle.
Really?
The accountant was trying to deliver a royalty check, which Green insisted he didn't deserve.
Wow.
So, yeah, he had a lot of mental problems through his career. I know that.
Well, in 2022, Spotify complies with Neil Young's request to remove his music from the service. And Neil's issue is with the Spotify podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, which he feels is spreading false information about vaccines. Joni Mitchell also removed her music, but Spotify stands tall for Rogan, whose subscriber count grows considerably in the wake of controversy. So it was a drop in the water, a drop in the ocean for
Spotify.
But at least Neil's sticking up for himself. And
you know who he's dating now, eh?
I have no idea.
Daryl Hannah.
Really?
Him and Daryl Hannah are an item.
Are they really?
I was shocked when I saw that.
Wow.
Yeah. It's and it's been multiple people have mentioned it. It's not just one or two, but quite a few people. Excuse me. 1977, opening for Bob Seger at a show in Tampa, Florida. Patti Smythe, I've always called her Smythe, falls off the stage, tumbling into the orchestra pit 15 feet below, suffers a head injury, and breaks her back, leaving her in traction.
Broke her back.
Wow.
Wow.
I've seen it. Well, we've had a few artists. Dave Grohl, he fell off the stage at a show, I think it was in Germany, breaks his leg.
Wow.
Goes backstage, they put him in an air cast, and he comes out and finishes the show.
I remember Bobby Bond, he played for the Leafs on a broken leg.
Yeah.
Broken leg, and he played for the Leafs. Went out for those were the iron days of hockey.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? All right, we're going to go back to Spotify with some more information here. If I can get this damn thing to come up. It's not coming up again. Where's my Spotify story?
Which one? No, it was the same story.
Oh, it was the same story. So we're going to Fleetwood Mac now,
Yes.
you see. I've got this old laptop that sucks. And I can't read it because it's got all these advertisements popping up while I'm reading my story. Anyway, the Fleetwood Mac album Tusk is named after Fleetwood Mac's drummer, the nickname for his old man.
Yeah,
apparently.
for his dad.
His dad.
Yeah,
And
Mick Fleetwood.
That's right. And the oldest artist to hit #1 on the U.S. singles chart is, do you know?
Louis Armstrong.
Louis Armstrong in 1964 with Hello Dolly at the age of 62. The oldest woman to top the charts, surprisingly, Cher.
Wow.
With Believe in 1999 at the age of 53.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I didn't know. Well, Cher always looks 21.
I know.
She keeps having all these.
That's why she keeps dating
nips and
21
tucks.
years old.
Yeah.
It's,
that was a good song, Believe. I remember that. 1999. That's like 24 years ago, buddy.
1915, folk singer Ewan McCall is born. James Henry Miller in London, and in 57 he takes an hour to write First Time I Ever Saw Your Face, for a play his mistress was appearing in, and 15 years later it becomes a hit for Roberta Flack.
There you go.
And it was a huge hit for her.
I had no idea where that song came from.
No, I didn't either.
This week in 1980, Paul McCartney is released and deported from Japan after spending 9 days in a Tokyo jail. He was arrested at the airport when customs officials found 219 grams of marijuana in his luggage. And
he was going for a good time.
He was going for a good time, yeah. You know, the Beatles didn't really start smoking weed until a couple years after they were famous. At least I believe so.
From what I understand, it wasn't really till the 70s.
Yeah, well, 68, I think.
Late 60s. Yeah, well, that's true, too. 1989, performing in Columbus, Georgia, Bobby Brown is arrested under the city's Anti-Lewdness Act when he brings a girl on stage and simulates sex with her. Brown finished the show about an hour later after he booked and pays a $652 fine.
Oh. And in 2004, Bob Dylan was paid by ladies' underwear company Victoria's Secret to fly to Venice in northern Italy to film a TV advertisement in an ancient palazzo with a scantily dressed model. Some fans were upset while others empathized with Bob Dylan. What's wrong with that? Why would you be upset about that?
What's so offensive about that? They do it all the time. All kinds of ads on TV and stuff like that is, you know. Blues singer Etta James, known for the enduring ballad At Last, is born Jamesetta Hawkins in Los Angeles, California this week.
She was quite a singer, that gal.
God, yeah, beautiful.
She could belt them out.
Beautiful, and a beautiful woman, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was gorgeous, man. Very, big bone gal, one of those gorgeous, large women. Oh, yeah. And Johnny Cash claims that the idea for the song Blue Suede Shoes came from a story that he told Carl Perkins about an airman who used to tell Johnny Cash not to step on his blue suede shoes. So you think of Elvis and you think of Carl Perkins when you hear blue suede shoes, but really, Johnny Cash was the man that knew the guy with the blue suede shoes, baby.
Exactly.
And here's your favorite guy, Ed Sullivan.
Ed Sullivan was quoted back in 1956 and This Week in 1956, and he said, "I wouldn't have Elvis Presley on my show at any time."
And what happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. A little bit of history and trivia for today as well. In 1961, this is a guy that you and I are just adore. He's the greatest. Mel Blanc, who was the voice of Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and many other cartoon favorites, gets in a horrible car accident on a stretch of road in Los Angeles known as Dead Man's Curve. Mm-hmm. Now, remember that song?
Yeah.
I didn't know this one either. Hearing the news, Roger Christian is inspired to write a song about the treacherous turn. So the famous Jan and Dean song, Dead Man's Curve, is all about Mel Blanc. And wow, that's a mind blower. But Mel was something else. Oh. He actually kept working from his hospital bed.
Yeah.
He was that good. They needed him to, can we come in and record you in the hospital? And Mel's going, I guess so. And he recorded some of the Flintstones in hospital.
Yep. Yeah.
Because I remember seeing a video of him.
He was the voice of Barney, just so you guys know.
I remember seeing him in a video where he was with the voice of Wilma and the voice of Barney.
Yeah.
And no, he was the voice.
He was
the voice of Fred.
Yeah.
And the voice of Fred looked a little like Fred.
He did, actually. He
Wilma
looked
nothing like
Wilma. But the guy who did Fred, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
I can't remember.
But he did actually look like Fred Flintstone.
Didn't he? Yeah.
It was kind of funny. And
what an amazing voice box that
Mel
man
was my
had.
hero.
Our hero.
Yeah,
anybody in radio.
Just to be able to jump into these voices and be that guy,
I mean, he had an incredible voice box. It had to be 6 feet wide.
God, yeah.
To be able to go here and there and there and there and there.
Saw an interview with him on Johnny Carson back in the late 70s, and he goes into doing some of the voices, right?
Yeah.
Just the look on Johnny and Ed's face.
Well, it's hard to keep a straight face when you're around Mel Blanc.
Oh God, yeah.
All of a sudden you're talking to Daffy Duck.
Well, it's even like I've seen the interview with Dan Castanella and what's his name, some of the voices of The Simpsons. And when they get going, oh my God, it's hilarious. It's a riot. So love you, Mel. Thanks for the inspiration.
I tell you, if there's one guy that I would love to meet. I just.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I'm so sorry that I didn't meet him. This week in 1967, Aretha Franklin records her first top 10 pop hit, I Never Loved a Man the Way That I Love You, at a tumultuous session at Fame Studios in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, where her husband actually got into a fight with one of the musicians. It was a punch-up in the studio. So every time you hear I Never Loved a Man, remember what happened right after.
That's right. Somebody got the shit kicked out of them. 1980, clever marketing. Pink Floyd advertised their upcoming world tour to promote their album The Wall with a special billboard on Los Angeles Sunset Strip that gradually covered up each day with a brick until the entire wall was built over.
Well, that's a promotional genius.
That's a brilliant idea.
But that would have sold anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
Oh God, yeah. The album was huge for them, and it's rightfully so. It was a great album.
It's one of those pieces of music that will be heard in 200 years, just we listen to Beethoven now.
I'm just going to do a quick check on the camera while you read the next couple stories.
In 1965, Downtown, remember that song by Petula Clark? The first UK female singer to have a #1 on the US singles chart since Vera Lynn in 1952. The song was also a #2 hit in the UK, recorded in 3 takes, with the second take ultimately chosen as the completed track. Session players in the studio recording included Jimmy Page.
Of Led Zeppelin.
Jimmy Page was on Downtown. Isn't that unbelievable? And you and I don't really look at this stuff until we go on the air.
Absolutely. I don't.
So, that one, when I read that this morning when I was putting the show together, I had no idea that Jimmy Page was on Downtown. And in 1966, you go.
Yeah, police arrest Jim Morrison for kissing a young woman, but then the charges are really just a way for them to get to the bottom of a suspected murder that supposedly occurred weeks before, and during a trip to the desert with friends Felix Venable and Phil Lino, Morrison had stopped to kiss a random girl on the side of the highway.
Wow. Well,
I think they just looked for any reason to arrest him.
They do.
He was just so targeted, right?
Yeah.
And
1967, this week, Pink Floyd again spent the first of 3 days recording the Syd Barrett songs Arnold Lane and Candy in a Currant Bun at Sound Technique Studios in Chelsea, London. According to Roger Waters, Arnold Lane was based on a real person. And Arnold was a transvestite whose primary pastime was stealing women's clothes and undergarments from washing lines in Cambridge.
that's hilarious.
Leah, you blow my mind.
Every single time.
I love that song, Arnold Lane.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite.
I'd heard about that story, so I kind of knew a little bit on
Pink
that
Floyd
one.
were a great band in the 60s. They were just like they're up there with all the others.
Oh God, yeah. It just the Beatles just took over everything, though. So it became, the decade of the Beatles, really, in my opinion. 1978, Terry Kath, the original singer for the band Chicago, dies at the age of 31 when he accidentally shoots himself in the head after a party at a roadie and band technician Don Johnson's home in Woodland Hills in California. Kath picked up a semi-automatic 9mm pistol, and leaning back in his chair, he said to Johnson, don't worry about it. Look, the clip isn't even in it. To satisfy Johnson's concern, Kath showed the empty magazine to Johnson, and Kath replaced the magazine in the gun, put the gun to his temple, pulled the trigger, and apparently unbeknownst to Kath, however, there was still one round in the chamber, and he died instantly from a gunshot.
Wow, that's unreal, man. That's unreal.
Talk about being cocky.
No
my
kidding.
God.
No kidding. So, and we move on to our 1991 now. The Albuquerque, New Mexico radio station KLSX FM, KLSK, pardon me, FM plays the Led Zeppelin song Stairway to Heaven over and over and over and over for 24 hours to inaugurate a format change to classic rock. It plays more than 200 times, eliciting hundreds of angry calls and letters. Police show up with guns drawn after a listener reports that the DJ had apparently suffered a heart attack later because of a suspicion that this being 8 days into the... Where did that come from? Oh, okay, it's the same story. This being 8 days into the Gulf War, the radio station had been taken hostage by terrorists dispatched by Zeppelin freak Saddam Hussein. Weirdest of all, lots of listeners don't move the dial. Turns out to be a lot of people listening to see who would be finally when they would finally stop playing it. Now there's lots of radio promotions like that.
Oh God, yeah.
The most famous was it was a 50,000 watt radio station in one of the large markets in the States, and they went on the air and they said, "Come out to this big field just outside of town, and you'll be witnessing I don't know, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, all playing for you."
Right.
And it was their transmitter site, but it backfired on them because the cops charged them. Well, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So, hundreds of people showed up at their transmitter, sitting there waiting to see all these stars, and these red lights are flashing. You know what I mean?
That's all you're going to see.
Some of the great radio promotions.
Oh God, some of the stuff they did, I still
The
think.
walking man that Chum did in the '60s was amazing. You used to look for this walking guy,
Right.
Or the chicken man here in Georgetown.
At least we're not doing it with the turkeys. You know,
No,
we're not doing it at
I swear to
Thanksgiving.
God, I thought turkeys could fly.
I know.
I honestly did.
That line when the way Gordon Jump does it and delivers it, it's priceless. Absolutely priceless.
What a great show that was, eh?
The first inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame include Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, and Fats Domino. Led by Atlantic Records' former founder, Amit Erdogan, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Foundation was formed in 1983 to recognize the pioneer figures of the genre, including performers, and eligible for consideration 25 years after the release of their first single. And it also includes producers and engineers and stuff like that. So, and my cousin and I were talking about that. You look at a band like Boston, and there's several others that have never been inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Are Boston not in?
No.
You gotta be kidding me.
Are you kidding me? Really? Like,
If there's one album that I played to death
Oh,
in the
God.
70s, it was the original Boston
Yeah.
album. And they never, even though they got close, they didn't quite duplicate that first album.
No.
Because
No.
they had the right sound and the right moment but more than a feeling, every time that comes on the radio, man, it's cranked.
everybody I know, turn that sucker up, man.
Turn that up, baby. That's
It's,
rock and roll. And I can't believe they're not. I
Yeah,
thought
there was
they
a
were.
couple more Todd mentioned, and I was like, yeah, you're right. And I looked it up, and sure as hell,
That's nuts.
it's stupid. Yet you got some of these other people that they've inducted over this last couple of years, and I'm shaking my head going, they're not rockers.
Yeah. What are they
They're
doing
not
in
rockers.
there? What are they doing in there?
They're hip hop, or they're this.
Yeah,
No. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is rock and roll.
It's rock
You
and
want to
roll.
start your own thing? Go start your own.
Hip hop is just, and you look at the Motown stuff. I consider that as rock and roll, but hip hop is too out there
Exactly.
to be
Even
blended
R&B,
with the-
same thing.
Yeah,
That's like comparing rock and country.
That's right.
It's not the same. It's
that's why the Country Music Association has the Country Hall of Fame.
Exactly.
And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You have the Hip Hop Hall of Fame, which there should be.
There should be.
It's been around long enough
You
now.
figure it's been
There
around
should be,
30 odd years now.
But
So, and you got a lot of great guys out there. LL Cool J, you've got Ice Cube, Ice-T. These guys were great musicians and great, they sold millions and millions of albums, and they should have a Hall of Fame.
well, yeah, especially the rappers. They amaze me.
Like
the
do the
rappers
rap
are-
hip hop together. You could do
Exactly.
that together, but I think it's kind of silly that some of these people they've inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame have nothing to do with rock and roll.
That's right. That's right.
So-
Yeah, we should bring a list of who's in there and who's not.
We
and
will
just
next
do a
week.
whole
We'll
show
do that
on
next week.
Yeah,
We'll
we
do
should
that
do
next
that.
week. We'll bring that
Who's
up.
in the rock and roll? Who should be?
Or
in
who
the
should
rock and roll?
who shouldn't be and who should be.
That's right. Yeah,
That's a better list.
that's right. That's right.
So
How are we doing for time there?
we're
General?
getting near the end, yeah.
Getting
Yeah,
near
we're
the
just
end.
about
Don't
done.
forget
We got
we
to
have
talk about our stations, though. I'm going to
Radio
double check while you
stations.
talk about that.
We have FM108.ca, Canada's only station, and thanks for the wonderful emails that I get telling us how much you enjoy the programming and the fact that we don't ever move out of the 50s, 60s, and 70s musically.
Exactly.
We always play those memories. And Radio GTA, of course, is our freeform station. And we're both Canadian National Radio, and we also own a community radio station, Halton Hills Online, and of course Mike Devine has Party Dog.
That's right, yeah.
And
Our good
he's
buddy
joined
Mike.
us with the
Plus
radio
we've got,
network.
and we're the first ones to do it, Mr. Don Cherry.
Don Cherry. We have Don Cherry on 6 times a week on all 3 of our radio stations, and we're very proud of that. And I have to say something about a really good friend of ours, and Tarzan Dan, who is stationed in Calgary. And radio is a cruel thing.
Oh, God, yeah.
He's one of the best radio guys I've ever heard on the air. An inspiration to me and many other people. But the fact that radio is corporate now and they don't really give a shit.
Oh, God, that's an understatement.
And of course, they didn't fire him, but they had to let him go because it went all talk.
Yeah.
So now Tarzan Dan's out there looking for work. I can't believe it. You know, somebody with that amount of talent, but he won't be long before
somebody will snap him up.
I just wanted to mention that because he's a good buddy. And, you know, radio is turning into online now.
Yeah. That's why we've gone that way.
They don't have AM cars anymore with
a
AM
lot
radios.
Even a lot of the cars now, the radio that's in there is so buried because everybody does Apple CarPlay or Bluetooth or whatever, right?
I listen to FM 108 or one of our stations when I'm out driving around, so do you. Because we have our Bluetooth. And just flick a switch and you can hear whatever you want.
As soon as I get in my truck, my phone connects, I hit the button, I'm listening.
But Tarzan, we love you, buddy, and we'll see where he ends up.
All the best, my friend.
He won't be out of work for long.
No.
And he's also a great photographer, too.
So make sure you check out all of our stations and, you know, find the one that suits you the best.
Yep.
And like I said, you can bookmark it right to your phone.
That's right.
And Bob's your uncle. So
take it with you. You can listen to us on Bluetooth anywhere in the world, you know.
Absolutely.
And, you know, but that really surprised me that they're not making AM, putting AM into it. And it's the writings on the wall, man. If cars aren't going to be playing the AM, they're not going to survive.
Exactly. Exactly. Because that's where most people listen to radio.
In the car, 99% of the time, they listen in the car.
All right, I'll let you sign off while I do the camera.
Thank you so much for joining us this week. We were brought to you by Tourism from British Columbia. And Tofino, BC is a wonderful spot. And we enjoy sharing Canadian tourism information each and every week on our radio stations and on the podcast. So you should really check out Tofino, BC, though. If you want to see some whales, see some waves, see beautiful scenery and beautiful people, because all Canadians are beautiful people. We're like the Switzerland of North America. Here we are. God love you. Canada, hometown for Canada is Halton Hills, of course. We are here 24/7 on radio and on social media, and every week on the video. Thanks for joining us, folks. Now, am I supposed to say something for Leah or no?
I don't remember that one.
I don't remember. I think I just did it with the Halton Hills thing. Yeah,
I think so.
She said she's taking notes in traction on the couch at home right now, going, well, they blew that one and they blew that one. And we love you, Leah. Thanks for not being here this week, so we could have some fun and enjoy ourselves and not be yelled at. We love you. You know that. Thank you for joining us every week, folks.
Have a great week, everybody.
Right on.